Floyd Mayweather is one of the more interesting characters in sports history. Now, he goes right in line with sports entertainment. Like professional wrestlers, this story is a dime a dozen with professional wrestlers. And the reason I referred to Floyd as an interesting character, because what you see from Floyd is not Floyd. That is an act. That is not a person. That is a character. But where it does tie into pro wrestling, right? When Floyd came out and pretended to be something that he wasn't, many pro wrestlers will mark out for their own gimmick, which means you have a gimmick, you have an act, you have a character. And we all as human beings are whoever we pretend to be. And the great ones, they will call it acting. And they will become somebody they're not. They will become that person for a scene, and they can drop it and let it go. That's the difference between a skill and a weirdo. Or they'll stay in that the whole time they're on set for 3 months. You go and have dinner with them, and they will stay in that character of that outlaw, and they'll have that gun on their hip, and they'll have that hat on. They'll do that whole for the 3 months, and then they drop it and let it go, and they go back to who they are, and they use their actual name. You get pro wrestlers that won't ever do that. You get pro wrestlers that are long retired, and they're still going off of their gimmick name. I mean, it's just a very common thing where somebody they'll fall for it. They will fall for the work themselves. What they sat down and scripted and wanted to see if it could get over with the audience, over a period of time, they actually become that person. Very normal. Floyd did this with Money Mayweather. And Money Mayweather was one of the very few gimmicks in all of sport at that time. Perhaps the only gimmick. I don't remember anybody. There's been one guy in baseball ever. You guys remember that guy? He was real interesting. He did the beard. I don't know if the beard was real, if the beard was fake, but you remember the guy with the beard? He was a meaningful player. God, he might have even been a pitcher. But remember when he would work that angle? He was live on a sports show one time. Might have even been Sports Center. They got a live shot of him, and he has a gimp from Pulp Fiction. He has a gimp cut through the back room, way behind him, as though he doesn't know. But do you remember when he did that? That was great stuff. I can't think of a baseball player in history that's ever done a gimmick aside from that gentleman. I cannot think of a football player in history that's ever done it. So when I tell you that Floyd, I believe, was the only character in all of sport at that time, he's one of the few characters of all time in sport. But what you use to sell tickets, right? Because Floyd wasn't always Money Mayweather. He was Pretty Boy Floyd. And Pretty Boy Floyd didn't work. And he knew the importance to a gimmick. He knew the importance to an interview. He knew the importance of entertainment. He knew these things. He was a student of the sport. So he adjusted. He came off and he got inspired by rap videos. And it was a very brash thing to ever brag if you had something. Even if you had a fancy watch that maybe you would like somebody to notice. We've all had a toy, something like this, that we wanted our friends to see. But there was a way that your friends had to see it so that, you weren't spoiled, or you didn't look like a snob, or you didn't look arrogant for having it. And the rap culture turned on that and steered into it. Look at that. He renamed it Bling, and they were flashing money, and the beautiful girls and the fancy cars and the cool parties, and it was all just an image. It was an act, but it was working. And Floyd saw that. He got inspired by it, and he just took that into boxing. It was great. Pretty Boy Floyd was not a thing. Pretty Boy Floyd didn't make a lot of money. Had hard fights. They didn't change the rules for him. They didn't reduce training camp for him. Just didn't get the same rewards. Money Mayweather changed everything. Starts doing interviews. He was uncomfortable with it. I remember it was all the $100 bills, and he was fanning them. He was uncomfortable. He wasn't sure how to do it. He wasn't sure if the public was going to like it. He starts breaking them off. They're going right into the camera lens. It's this great shot that you can still find today. But when he saw that it worked, right, this thing started to steamroll, he went with it. It was great. It was really great for business. But business is over, right? Much like the pro wrestlers who no longer wrestle, but don't go by the name that their mother and father gave them. They go by the name that Vince McMahon gave them. They wear the same clothes. They act the same way, right? It's one of these things where you look at it and go, man, that's not a great performer. The great performers go and become somebody they're not while at work, and they go back to themselves when they go to their family. There's a difference. And if Floyd was out there promoting or selling something, I wouldn't give him a hard time. I always feel compelled. I met Floyd one time. He couldn't have been a nicer guy to me. I don't mean to give him a hard time. There is just an amazement within me when you, the public, sees bull crap and you don't know it's bull crap. Like, that does amaze me. It surprises me. But it also reinforces my belief that there is an opportunity to come out and create a character that gets over with the audience. And Floyd made a lot of money in his career. He didn't make anywhere near what he claimed that he made. Floyd's claims, of which were made up, were supported and are to this second supported by Forbes. Forbes is a highly trusted and respected source. Presidents of countries will give speeches and arguments and cite Forbes as a source. They're getting duped by a gentleman who, according to 50 Cent, does not know how to read. I mean, you take that how you will. Not the literacy part. You take how you will about Forbes. They're so smart and they're so reputable and they're so believed. They're so entrusted. They have been fooled for years and continue to this second to be fooled by a gentleman whose best friend says is illiterate. So Floyd came out today, and Boxing Kingdom, which is a very, very big publication, fell for it. And if you're a publication, if you're a media member, you must be a willing participant within the gimmick. You must be, but now you're working together. You don't have to believe it, you just don't come crack it. If it's a good gimmick that sells and brings in interest, you must be a willing participant for the person that's presenting that character to you. So I wouldn't blame Boxing Kingdom if there was something to sell. I wouldn't blame them. I would understand what they were doing. There's nothing to sell, and they did it anyway. They did it anyway because they believed it was true, just like Forbes, which makes them pretty stupid. And all it is, it's Floyd. Here's the story. Floyd Mayweather has closed down a mall. He has rented out the entire mall to go Christmas shopping, and then he went shopping, and he spent $15 million. Now, the proof that this happened is Floyd in a mall and Floyd with a bag of cash that probably had about 100 grand in it. Now, there was some real money in that bag, and Floyd is known to go around Vegas with that bag. That's true. How does having a bag that has roughly $100,000 in it represent making a purchase at a mall for $15 million? Do you see the problem there? If I went to a mall and I was a big spender, I would have no bag. I would have no bag of cash. I would either have the $15 million I'm going to spend, or I would have no bag at all. I would use my card. But much like you guys, you've never done a combination of the two. Never. In your life, you've never combined the two. You've never bought anything with cash and go, hey, put the rest of it on the card. You've never done that. But we're led to believe within the story that Floyd spent $15 million shopping, because we have proof that he has a bag that has about $100,000 in cash. I mean, the whole thing's silly, right? Then, you've got to understand. So when Floyd does this interview, he's at the mall. So they got a camera shot and it's right on him. And he says, man, I'm a VIP, I'm a VP, I'm a VVVVIP. I want to go shopping. I'm like Santa Claus. I do it all alone. He lowers his voice. So whenever one of his friends pulls out the camera to prove that he shut down a mall, and then comes with the $15 million expense claim, right? Much like when he claimed he got $250 million to fight Manny Pacquiao, and Forbes backed it up. Do you want to know why he was whispering, guys? He was whispering so that he didn't disrupt the employees and fellow shoppers at the mall. He was whispering because he did not rent out the mall. It was a work. He's wearing about $28 in garage sale clothing in the shot. Not for nothing. I know you're not going to go spend $15 million, but you also don't walk around the bag of $100,000 in cash. If you were that guy, if that happened, if you had it that way, would you have on $28 worth of clothing? Or would you wear something a little bit nicer? So, within the same shot, this is all a shot that Boxing Kingdom put out because they thought it was real. Within the same piece that you can watch, which is only 12 seconds, Floyd's in a second store, so he does the establishing shot with his voice down because he wants you to think the mall is to himself. And the way they got in boxing, there is no one else. You can't see anyone else. So the next shot is him in the actual store doing some shopping. He's in a completely different outfit. So it's not even the same day. His editing crew would not qualify as amateur. Okay? An amateur crew is an aspiring professional crew. The editing crew that he had would not qualify as amateur. That would have cost $0 to make the piece that he made. There is no one that would be as bad as they did at editing that could with a straight face charge you. Not even $10. They could not charge. It's awful. If you were going to spend $15 million and you wanted the world to know it was important to you, would you have a camera crew that was less than amateur? Because he did. It's okay. This is a gimmick. Floyd did everything that Floyd is supposed to do. It's strange that a 50-year-old man would continue to do what he did when he was 28 years old. That's strange. It's strange that you would need whatever attention is so bad when you don't have anything to sell. That's strange. But aside from that, Floyd did everything right. He went out and got media. He got his attention. He put a BS story out that he got a massive publication to believe was true. That's fascinating. I think you agree.